Constitution's just a ghost in chains. Freedom slipping down the drains. Rise up, break the chains. No billionaire should run the game. Lying, scheming, stealing rights. If we don't fight, we lose tonight. End of democracy comes in waves. Justice buried in shallow graves. Stand up loud, don't be the slaves. Unmake the cage, unmake the cage. Tick tock, time's running out. They're burning the laws, there ain't no doubt. Oh no, America, what you gonna do? Rights getting burned and they're coming for you.
Hey everybody, I'm on the wrong camera. Fantastic. Let me fix that. That is not the camera that I want. But this one is. Hey-oh, here we are. Fantastic, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's talk politics. Let's talk politics. Let's talk about what's happening right now. There was a very, very, very important, amazing video that came out. Hey, Jennifer, from Senator Alyssa Slotkin. I believe we are going to be hearing a lot more about this woman. And yeah, the world is falling apart. I'm sorry, honey. I got sick. That's where I've been. And I've been posting things on my TikTok and shorts, but I haven't been live. So we're going to do it live. And we're going to review a video here. Let me pull it up. She spoke today. Again, wrong camera. This is the side view of my gobble. No, thank you. There we go. Here I am. Good morning in Australia, Tazzy. Good morning. Yeah. So we're gonna go over this briefing that she held this morning at the Center for American Progress Action Fund. She has amazing points here, and if for dollars to donuts here, I think that she's nailing exactly what's going on with America right now. So without further ado, let's get into Senator Slotkin's address here.
And for having me here. And thank you to the Center for American Progress. I wanted to come here, frankly, because we haven't agreed on every single issue in the past. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity. It is a coincidence of scheduling that I find myself giving this talk a few days after the United States took military action in Iran, 2 days after the elections in New York, and the day before the Senate likely votes on President Trump's big, beautiful bill. But all of that helps clarify why I feel the need to do this speech in the first place. Put plainly, as a CIA officer and Pentagon official by training, I believe.
So I don't want to brush over that. She is a trained spook. She's trained in counterintelligence and gathering intelligence and making, decoding that into what is actionable, what's important, and what we should be focusing on. So I'm gonna let her continue.
That the single greatest security threat to the United States is not coming from abroad.
What?
It's the shrinking middle class here at home.
Boom.
I believe deep in my bones that if we lose our middle class, and by association, the American dream, we will lose our democracy and eventually our country. This is the existential threat. As a national security professional, what do you do when there's an existential threat to your country? You get to work on a war plan. You face up to what's not working, you change course, and you ruthlessly pursue the economic security that's critical to our survival. So in short, leaders have a responsibility to respond, to chart a path forward, and to not just complain from the sidelines. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to give the rebuttal to the State of the Union. I said that most Americans share 3 core priorities: a strong economy, strong national security, and a resilient democracy. Those are 3 of our most basic tenets as Americans. Later this year, I'll give 2 other speeches, one on security and one on democracy. But today, I want to lay out what is an economic war plan.
Boom.
Because
Listen
any
up.
successful vision of America must start with an economy that works for everyone. Okay, so back during my war planning days,
An economy that works for everyone. That would be great.
the Pentagon, the first thing we did was lay out the specific problem we are trying to solve. The middle class is shrinking. That's not a political statement, that's a fact. In the years after World War II, the middle class exploded. But over the last 50 years, the share of Americans in the middle class has fallen by nearly 20%. And the total wealth and power held by the middle class has been cut in half. Add to this inflation, and it is clear why people are frustrated. In 2025, money and opportunity is skewed towards those who already have it, not those who are striving for it. Middle-class families, blue-collar folks, young people, we all can feel that something is off.
Of course, it's a MAGA ad because I have hashtag MAGA in there. So yeah, of course it is, because they're trying to dominate every piece of airwaves right now with their propaganda to, try and dissuade people from speaking and looking and listening.
We're all questioning whether the American dream will be an American reality for us and for our kids. This core issue unites all of us, moderates, progressives, and everything in between. And that unity is critical if we ever hope to succeed in a plan. Things aren't off because Americans have stopped working hard. It's because government hasn't lived up to its side of the great American deal. That deal, which we all automatically signed up to, is this. Government has the responsibility to set the conditions for success, and the American people have the responsibility to work hard to achieve it.
That's a very important point. It's a very libertarian-esque point where I almost go okay, this is like, if you work hard, everything will work out, except the point she makes before that. The government has the responsibility to set the conditions, right? To level the playing field, to treat all humans equally, to give equality to all under the law, right? Which is important, because if we aren't equal under the law, then it's not a fair playing field. It doesn't matter, right? So billionaires, millionaires, oligarchs, all these guys should have to play by the same rules that you and I do. If we have to pay X percentage of taxes, they should have to pay at least that or more, since they have more. That's the only way we can all get along here, right? And this is where people get upset and they say socialism is a dirty word and all this other stuff. However, my hair is driving me nuts. I'm sorry, guys. It's such an ADHD thing. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. I think that people view socialism in a very skewed way, and they cannot understand the concept of sharing, right? Like, we get to kindergarten and everyone's like, sharing is caring. And we're supposed to share and not fight and let everybody have some. And we learn this as a basic human thing, right? Like, you give to the people who don't have as much as you. You don't give them everything and then you have nothing, then they would have to give back, right? Okay. It's about having enough so everybody has some. And we don't have to have one person who has the most that we have to beg for the things. That should never happen in a, equal society. It's insane that we live in one of the most prosperous countries in the world and we have the highest rate of homelessness here. Make that make sense. We have no universal health care. We have no help for children after they're born. We kick people off these programs because they're just on the dole. They're just sucking at the teat. Fuck them. It's just an insane idea that we have perpetuated, and that the American dream has become this nightmare that is not real anymore. Okay, but let's listen in here.
That deal is failing because politicians from both parties strayed from ruthlessly expanding the middle class. They've been lured by special interests, their own re-elections, and niche issues that have more to do with themselves. And it's been compounded by the bitter fighting that goes on every day between Democrats and Republicans.
Yep.
The result being, even as the economy has changed a lot since World War II, our government has not kept up. The things you need to succeed, your job, your school, your healthcare, are outdated and broken.
Yep.
And if the election in November told us anything, it's that it's not just Trump voters who are frustrated with the government. It's Americans across the board.
Mm-hmm.
As a senator from Michigan who just won on the same ballot as President Trump, I've seen this frustration firsthand. Michigan literally invented the middle class, the very basic idea that you could work at an auto plant and afford the car you were building.
Yep.
But today, Michigan is also a place where people feel like it's harder and harder to get in and stay in the middle class. Let's take my town of Holly, Michigan. It's full of people who aren't doing as well as their parents and their grandparents. They can't provide for their kids what was provided to them. Dad worked at the Ford engine plant and could afford a fishing cabin up north, but his son can't afford one. Dad could take his kids to Disneyland, but the son can't take his kids on vacation. Down the street from Holly is Flint, Michigan, where it's gotten harder to get in the middle class in the first place. And this is the thing that many Democrats have, quite frankly, lost touch with. When you can't provide for your kids, you feel anger, you feel shame, you lose your dignity, and you look for something or someone to blame. That anger, that suspicion among Americans, that right there is what I mean by an existential threat. Because in a multiracial, multi-ethnic democracy like ours, when people don't feel like they can get ahead, when the system is rigged against them.
Uh-oh, those are fighting words, Alyssa. Multiracial, multi-ethnic. Oh, no. I mean, that is what America is. Jesus.
They start blaming people who don't look like them or who sound different or who pray different. It's how we begin to tear each other apart from the inside. So in order to attack that threat, we need to get government back to the basics of what it was designed to do. And to me, those fundamentals are the following. Jobs that pay enough to save every month, schools that prepare kids for those jobs, a home you can call your own, safety and security from fear, energy to power our lives and an environment to pass on to our kids, and healthcare you can actually afford.
What?
This economic war plan aims not just to fix these systems or nibble around at the margins, but to rebuild them.
Boom.
And as a Democrat, if we have to slaughter some sacred cows to do it, then so be it.
Go, girl.
Okay, so let's get to it.
Preach.
At the Pentagon, once you identify the problem you're trying to solve, you lay out how you're going to attack it.
Okay, here we go.
For this economic war plan, there are 5 lines of effort we should pursue.
5.
First,
1.
jobs. We need to help every
Yes.
American who is willing to work for it achieve economic security.
Yes.
Imagine the middle class is like a ship at sea. For the better part of 30 years, it's been taking on water as the middle class has shrunk. And now it's about to hit a Category 5 hurricane in the form of artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Artificial intelligence has the potential to change our economy more than the internet did.
Yes.
Think about that. Productivity will go up and jobs will be gained, but jobs will also be lost. And that's
Yep.
going to start with entry-level jobs where college graduates cut their teeth. The skilled trades, plumbers, electricians may be more resilient. Jobs like nursing or teaching, where people skills are really, really important, might be safer as well. But jobs where you're summarizing information, like a brand new paralegal or an accountant, will be more at risk. Certainly in the Midwest, we're used to being the first to go when it comes to economic change. Bad trade deals, automation. This time, we may not be first on the list, but change is coming and we need to get our ass in gear. So any discussion of jobs needs to focus on job creation for the middle class. That starts with supporting small businesses. Small businesses employ nearly half the private workforce in America. So if we want to grow the middle class, we need to radically realign policy to support small businesses.
Yes.
We need to invest more in helping businesses get off the ground and grow their operations in America. And we need to give entrepreneurs back their time, simplifying taxes, licensing, patents, and regulations that distract from creating more jobs. The flip side of this is the first sacred cow I want to slaughter.
Okay.
Too often, Democrats fail to make the distinction between small businesses and the largest multinational corporations.
What?
And because of that, many Americans hear us as plainly anti-business. And while we're on the subject, too often as Democrats, we have the habit of vilifying success. Yes, we want everyone in America, including the President of the United States, to play by the same set of rules.
Yes.
Yes, we need a fair tax code to ensure all Americans are paying their fair share.
Yes.
But this is America. No matter who you are or where you come from, Black, white, Latino, first generation, if you play by the rules, we want you to be wildly successful.
Yes.
Next, on job creation, we need to get serious about bringing our critical supply chains home.
Yes.
We need an aggressive 10-year plan that prevents any foreign nation from having a veto over America's national security. That's what we call good old-fashioned industrial policy, because we need to answer one single question. What critical items should we always make, at least in part, in the United States? Things like military hardware, of course, but food, pharmaceuticals, items like microchips that millions of Americans depend on.
100%.
We're never again going to make Rubik's Cubes and ladies' razors here in America. That's fine. We're good. But it's not fine for China to have control over rare earth minerals or batteries that our auto industry depends on.
No.
It's not fine if a single pharmaceutical plant going down in India means a shortage in cancer drugs in Michigan.
Nope.
To make sure these critical products are made at home, we need to use a combination of tools. Targeted tariffs, yes, and a shared plan where we tag team with our allies and partners, also incentives. But to be clear, sloppy and chaotic tariffs are not a substitute for an actual plan.
No.
Finally, if you really want to deal with the economy, we must acknowledge that our immigration system is broken. It's not working for anybody, not our employers, not our border officials, and not the immigrants themselves, who are simply looking to live the American dream the same way my family did.
Yep.
We need an immigration plan that is keyed to our economy. Immigrants fill critical labor shortages on our farms, in our factories, in our hospitals, and in our firms.
Yes.
And in Michigan alone, 1 out of 4 small businesses are owned by immigrants. So we need a system that brings legal, vetted immigrants into our country. That means talking directly to employers, setting up a completely new system that automatically sets visa caps at the needs of the workforce.
There you go.
Some years, we're going to need more workers. Some years, less. And no immigration plan exists without a clear plan on border security. As a former CIA officer, every country in the world deserves to know who and what is coming across its borders, and no one should be here illegally. As a border state, Michigan lives this every day. But both parties have been a mess on this issue. Republicans think border security should substitute for an immigration policy and are rounding up people in a way that goes against American values.
Correct.
And Democrats are scared to impose real rules. So let me slaughter another sacred cow.
Here we go.
We need to move past this talking point on comprehensive immigration reform. For the past 20 years, politicians in both parties have abandoned immigration deals, either because they were not perfect or because they preferred to use immigration as political ammo. We need big, bold change to fix a broken system. But at this point, that can be in one bill or spread across 5 bills. I will work with any adults I can find who are actually interested in making some kind of progress on immigration.
Adults.
But it doesn't matter how many jobs we create if those jobs don't pay enough to allow you to save every month and make it to the middle class.
100%.
All across the country, people are working 2 or more jobs just to make ends meet.
Yep.
We need an economy where every American can do one job, full-time, good benefits, and live a stable life. As workers increase their productivity, employers should make sure that they share in the wealth of the good years. And there should be consequences for corporations if they don't. If a global company is paying its full-time workers so little that they need federal benefits like Medicaid or food stamps, that's not a living wage. And that company
Yes,
should
Jennifer,
lose eligibility
I messed
for
up
tax
your comment.
incentives.
I'm sorry.
The government shouldn't give big tax breaks to big companies and then have to pay again to keep their employees from going hungry. That's double dipping. It makes the taxpayer pay twice for corporate greed, and it's got to stop. And while we're talking about employers and employees, I've heard some people cast union labor as a problem or a roadblock to progress. Those folks are dead wrong. Unions were invented because of corporate exploitation.
Boom.
And every worker in America should have the right to join a union if they want. It is not by accident that we're back in an era of increased interest in unions. Now, our unions need to become more nimble. They can't live in the past. But if you're a large corporation worried about unionization, I suggest you focus a bit more on taking care of your workers with good wages and good benefits.
Yeah, we need real health care, honeybee.
So I've talked about jobs in this brave new world. Next, our second line of effort is we need schools that prepare our kids for the
She's
jobs
from
of the
Michigan.
future. The middle class won't mean much if Americans with a public school education can't get in. We've mentioned how AI is going to radically change our world. It's therefore a good time to radically change our schools, from community college and trade schools to 4-year colleges to K through 12 schools. Let's talk
Boom.
about those one by one, starting with killing another sacred cow. In America, you don't have to go to college to be successful. I see this every day. We live this every day in Michigan, where our skilled trades, operating engineers, pipe fitters, in many cases are making a lot more than our college graduates. Making a living using your hands is a worthy path. Some Democrats give that lip service, but it's time to put our money where our mouth is.
Trade
We need
schools,
to invest
y'all.
heavily in certification programs, community
Yes.
colleges, trade schools, and
Yes.
apprenticeships. Key to that is taking a stick of dynamite to our federal workforce training programs. Just blow it up. Right now, workforce training is spread across 40 different programs in 14 different agencies.
Uh-oh.
We have to align all those programs around one goal: training and retraining people for a future economy.
Boom.
In that future economy, 4-year colleges and universities will still play an important role. We want America to be the world's leader in research and development. America should be the country inventing the next GPS or the cure for cancer.
Yes.
Spin off a million different businesses in the process. And by the way, if we don't, China will. So we need to do the opposite
Yes.
of what President Trump is doing and strategically invest in university research. But if we're going to do that, we have to hold our universities to their end of the bargain and keep their education accessible. Because
Yes.
for many middle-class Americans, these universities have crossed the line from expensive to not worth it.
Yeah.
That means guardrails on costs and student loans to make college more affordable. Now, all of this starts with K through 12 education. Let's state the obvious. We need to recruit and pay teachers better. We need to reduce class sizes. We need to drastically update our curriculum, especially in science and math. And we need to thoughtfully introduce AI into schools, balancing the need to prepare young people with the need to develop good old-fashioned critical thinking skills.
Yes.
But as we increase technology in schools, we also have to acknowledge where technology is already harming our kids. Too many students are lagging in
Here
the
we go.
people and problem-solving skills that will be even more valuable in the future economy, and that's largely because of social media and cell phones.
Yes.
To that end, we should ban cell phones in every K through 12 classroom in America.
Yes.
Congress and the courts should hold social media companies accountable for using algorithms that get our kids addicted to extreme content. Rules of the road for AI are absolutely vital. Because if we've learned anything from the internet revolution, the tech industry will not police itself.
Preach.
Next line of effort, housing. There is nothing more foundational to being an American than owning your own home. When my great-grandfather immigrated to this country, owning property was how he judged whether or not he had achieved the American dream. But today, that dream is even less affordable than ever.
Yep.
In 2005, the price of a new home was $140,000 on average. Today, it's over $500,000. Problem started in the 2008 recession. Builders stopped building so many homes. Decade later, COVID hits. Everyone wants to move, spurring demand. Add inflation to that, and voila. Americans of all stripes can't buy their first home or a bigger home for their growing families.
Yep.
Today, the average American doesn't buy their first home until they're 40, and if they're lucky. That is not a good story.
I didn't.
But there's something we can do.
Until I was
We
45.
need to declare a housing emergency and spur the building of about 4 million homes to catch up with need. If our political system was healthier, we would be obsessively talking about this issue every day. But we're not. In the President's State of the Union, there wasn't a single word about any housing policy, and there's not a significant proposal on home ownership in his big, beautiful bill.
Nope.
The single biggest thing holding us back is overlapping and outdated housing regulations. Seems wonky, but individual rules may have been enacted for good reason, with good intentions, but when they pile on top of each other, those rules make it nearly impossible to build homes, especially the single-family homes for the middle class.
True.
So we need to slaughter another sacred cow and take responsibility for how overregulation can halt work on really important issues. We need to streamline regulations that hold back builders from constructing homes. Federal and state programs, but also incentives for communities to change zoning laws that prevent construction. I know this concept of overregulation is being discussed a lot now in Democratic circles. That is good. But the economic war plan needs to measure concrete success by the number of homes built, not by the process
Sometimes,
we
yes,
use,
Amy.
or as we say at the Pentagon, to admire the problem.
Yep.
Now, let's take energy. We need an all-of-the-above energy plan, and we need to pursue it now. We all know we're using a lot more energy. Modern-day life is demanding it.
Facts.
But in the last 3 years, electricity prices have risen by 13%, faster than inflation. It's a crisis that is sparing no one, and I hear about it constantly back home. And AI is only going to make a spike in demand.
Yes.
If we don't plan now, in a matter of years, we're going to see things like rolling brownouts and blackouts because we don't have enough energy,
Yep.
and more Americans simply won't be able to afford their utility bills. What's the point of having a house if you can't keep the lights on? What we need is not a renewable plan or a fossil fuel plan. It's an all-of-the-above energy plan.
Yes.
Natural gas, since it's not feasible to meet growing demand without it, but also other forms, nuclear, batteries, renewables like wind, solar, and hydropower, and all the new stuff that's still in development from fusion to biofuels. We need it all. And anyone who tells you that we should scrap certain types of energy because it's woke doesn't actually give a crap about your costs. They care more about scoring political points and funding, frankly, their own reelection.
Say it.
Last, climate change is upon us. Even my Republican colleagues will admit that behind closed doors. And we need to expand the coalition of citizens working to mitigate climate change.
Thank you.
But here I need to slaughter another sacred cow.
Uh-oh.
The way some Democrats approach climate change is elitist. You're either with us or against us. In the 2000s, climate change was a theoretical thing, but today it's here in the form of extreme weather that is disproportionately hitting middle-class pocketbooks.
Yep.
By continuing to use climate change as a purity test, we're excluding people who are now inclined to join the cause. We need to meet people where they are. People get that extreme weather is a pocketbook issue. Let's start from there and try and bring as many Americans into the cause as we can. Finally, the last line of effort, providing for the life and health of your family.
Me too. Me too.
But there are
Lisa.
few systems as broken as healthcare in 2025 America. The whole country knows that our healthcare system is not working for anyone, not for the doctors and nurses, not for the admin staff who work in the system, and definitely not the patients.
Nope.
Is there a single American who thinks that healthcare is working well? I know this issue better than most. When my mother
True.
was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, she did not have insurance. She had let it lapse after she couldn't afford it. And while she was fighting for her life, we were fighting the insurance companies just to get her care. In the most powerful country in the world, all people deserve access to care. It's a core reason I ran for office. Tomorrow, President Trump and the Republicans are going to try and finish the job they started during Trump's first term, cutting your health care. This time around, they're trying to hide it. They know it's not popular, but the result is this. Every single American is at risk of either losing their health insurance or having the price of their health care go up.
This is Senator Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan, and she's fucking amazing.
By January 1. Keep book on that. And it begs the question, what should we be for on health care? Put me down as a supporter of a true public option. That means any American at any age has the ability to buy into a nationwide public insurance plan. You want to stay on your private insurance? No problem. But if you want to leave your job, move between states, start your own business, or retire early, there's a reasonable option that's there for you at a reasonable price. Now, don't let anyone tell you that this plan would be incremental. It would change the face of healthcare in America. And that's good because at this point, we are at a breaking point. Because the life and health of your mom or your kid, there is nothing you won't do.
Correct.
And elected leaders ignore that anger at their peril. Then we need to take a literal battle axe to the whole way we do prescription drug pricing. Just destroy it.
Thank you.
It's also broken. Americans should always be the place where we invent the new miracle drug. But in the system that we have, drug companies and a million middlemen in between jack up the prices however they want. And the treatments and cures only work if you can afford them. Democrats made some progress on this issue in the last few years, but it's not enough. Medicare and a new public insurance plan should have the ability to negotiate prices for all drugs. This is the Costco model,
Yes.
right? And every American understands the Costco model.
Yes,
you buy
we
in
do.
bulk and you get a cheaper per unit price. We also need a little sunlight and a little transparency on prescription drug pricing.
Yeah.
There is no other product in your life where you don't get to know the price until you hit the register.
Yep.
That's crazy, and it is purposely done. Which leads me to my final point. We have to go after special interests that keep our healthcare prices high. In my 6 years in Congress, I have seen no issue more influenced by lobbyists and political donations than healthcare. If you want to know why all Americans are furious about the price of healthcare and nothing ever changes, it's because of this very ugly reality. Lobbyists and corporate PACs donate a lot of money, and then members of Congress feel beholden to protect those industries. And that has real-life consequences for middle-class Americans on healthcare and on everything else. That's why a key part of my economic war plan, which undergirds everything actually, is taking action to regain the trust of the American people. We need a full-on ban of corporate PAC money. I am one of 6 senators who has never taken corporate PAC checks. 6 out of 100. Beyond that, we also need to ban members of Congress from trading stocks and cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
So Americans know politicians aren't personally profiting from their access. The middle class doesn't have a
Clap
lobbyist.
it up.
They don't have a super PAC. They don't have a corporate PAC. But they should have the Democratic Party. You want to refocus elected leaders, both Democrats and Republicans, on middle-class issues, own up to the role that money plays in politics, and gut it. None of this is radical. This is getting back to basics.
Yep.
And as we know from sports, if you can't get the basics right, no one cares about your trick plays. So that's my vision for getting back to basics, the economic war plan for America. Frankly, it's what most Americans want their government to be focused on. And it's how government can hold up their end of the great economic bargain. Government sets the conditions for success, and the American people work hard to achieve it. Look, I know this is a fractious time in our economy and in Washington. It seems like we can't move forward. Democrats are stuck playing constant defense against what's coming out of the White House. But defense is simply not enough.
Yep.
No team in history, on the field or in Washington, D.C., ever won a damn game without going on the offense. We need to offer a different vision and demonstrate an affirmative, positive plan for the country. That's our responsibility and what this moment demands of us. And given the stakes, the existential threat of a shrinking middle class, an economic war plan is what I know how to do. We need to treat the moment with the seriousness it deserves and be relentless in protecting the country we all love. Thanks for having me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's up, guys. That's what's up. I saw her do this talk. She's actually on Nicole Wallace right now, talking with her, on national news about what's happening. But that is now, I'm way more radical than she is in some of my thoughts. But she is the first Democrat senator that I've seen come out with any kind of plan to do anything. Okay. Meanwhile, and I'm gonna have some harsh words here. Meanwhile, Californians, I shouldn't say Californians, some people out there in the ether keep talking about, oh, we really want Gavin Newsom to run for president. Dear God, no. Dear God, no. Put that genie back in the bottle and shut the fuck up. We do not want Gavin Newsom as president of the United States. We already have a philanderer in chief. We don't need another one. Okay? No, no, no. Absolutely not. No, thank you. I like Eric Swalwell. He's got a few things to figure out and get more firm on. I would much prefer him as a candidate, but I'll be honest with you. I do not think that any Californian is going to successfully run right now and win in a national race. Okay, because California is such a divisive subject. It always is. Okay, it has been my whole life. And especially right now with, the tit for tat that's going on between Newsom and, the Cheeto in chief, which I love, by the way. I do love their Twitter war. That is just fucking amazing. Okay. And I love the way that he's standing 10 toes deep and going, oh, you're not going to give us our federal funding? Well, good luck having a budget without our taxes, right? Like, I think I'm all for that. I'm all for California succeeding, from the union. And good luck to the rest of America if California does do that, guys, because they're the 4th largest economy in the world. They're going to be just fine without us. Okay. The rest of us are sucking the teat of California for the funds that we get. Okay. So, that's real talk. I do not want Gavin for president. Okay. No, thank you. No. And I also don't think that Kamala should run for governor. More controversial statements from me today. Personally, I think she's spent her political capital. I think she should do nothing except for marching in the streets for democracy from now on, and fucking help save the democracy. I don't think her becoming governor and attempting another run for president is going to do anything for anyone. You know, it's not efficient, right? Like take Hillary Clinton, for example, right? She's got it all crack-a-lacking up there, and she's going doing her speaking gigs. But I would love for Hillary and Michelle to get out on the streets and fucking go protest ICE and shit, and go protest for democracy. That would be great. I'm sure the two of them, and they think, hey, listen, I've done a lot already, and that's not untrue. But it would be great to see y'all out there amongst the peoples, marching with the people, right? I think a lot of people in Congress, in politics, especially on the Democratic side of things, like to envision themselves like in a folk hero capacity, as if they are John Lewis, right? As if they could even stand in that man's shadow in terms of what he sacrificed of himself to fight for the right to exist. Al Gore. I love Al Gore. Oh, Al Gore's spicy right now. We have spicy Al Gore. It's caliente. Caliente Gore. And I love it. I love Al Gore. But again, he's doing great speaking gigs right now. And when you get a chance to watch those, they're fantastic. Okay. But Al Gore, come march with us. Get a comfy pair of shoes, hon, and get out there. We need you. Why are you and Greta Thunberg not just like fucking dynamic duoing it up for the environment? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But he's still working. He's still working on battling a lot of climate shit in the background. People just they fell asleep on him. I mean, let's not. Don't get me started on the 2000 election where he actually won and didn't demand the recount. Don't get me started, Chair. Don't get me started. Okay. These next elections that are coming up, guys, are so fucking important. Please get registered. If you're not registered to vote, register. Please do us a favor, okay? If you swing towards the progressive side of things, register as a Democrat so that you can vote in those primaries. Okay. If you are super conservative, go ahead and register as a Republican. But if you want to get really spicy, my mom back in the late 70s, early 80s, registered as a Republican so that she could vote no on Ronald Reagan in the primary. She thought, that's my civic duty. I'm going to register one time as a Republican so I can vote no on that son of a bitch. She felt very powerful in that moment. Obviously, she was one of the very few Republicans voting no on that man, as we know. Yeah. I miss John Lewis too. I miss John Lewis too, Selfless. He is a titan among men, and is sadly missed. Is sadly missed. Oh no, I just got sent something here. A Canadian citizen and U.S. permanent resident has died while in the custody of U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement in Florida and awaiting removal from the United States. I guess his body. The Canadian, identified as 49-year-old Johnny Novello, was found unresponsive Monday at the Federal Detention Center in Miami and was attended to by medical staff, but was pronounced dead the same day. According to ICE. The cause of death remains under investigation. Global News has reached out to Global Affairs Canada for comment and more information. ICE said it provided notification of Novello's death to the Canadian consulate by telephone. So kind of them. I said that after Noviello was found unresponsive, medical staff immediately performed CPR and used electronic defibrillator to try and revive him before calling 911. He was pronounced dead by the Miami Fire Rescue Department at 1:36 p.m. local time, less than an hour after he was found at 12:54. Oh, and Bill Moyers just died? Wow. Guys, there's a full moon. I don't know. That's all accurate facts. Share. Why did the comments get so big all of a sudden? Hang on. Oh, because I didn't fix them on this page. There we go. Yeah. Accurate. Guys, we have to get shit under control here. We cannot lose focus. We cannot not pay attention to this. Every single day, the Cheeto in chief does something else that's insane. Now, as more reports, more intelligence reports are actually coming out, we are finding out that here's the way to look at what happened in Iran. Okay. From a purely military standpoint, was there a mission laid out that was executed as laid out perfectly without detection in and out, and our pilots went in, did their job and left, and nothing happened to them? Yes. Was the effect of that what the Trump administration is claiming, obliteration, they'll never rebuild their nuclear program? No. According to most verified reports, this bombing has only set them back a few months. And if we don't come to a deal, I would say it's going to accelerate their nuclear ambitions as opposed to, fucking tamp them down. So, yeah. And the fact that, like, Trump at the NATO conference, I don't know who did his spray tan. My God, they really laid it on. But also, he's like, yeah, they asked if we could come at like 1. And I was like, yeah, that works for us. I could pencil you in at 1 to do an annihilation, fucking flyover. Guys, I can't even gaze. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I cannot gaze upon Truth Social because sometimes I see somebody will like put something on TikTok or they will retweet something, or whatever, and it'll be like a screenshot of his Truth Social account. And I'm like, that can't possibly be what he said. And then it totally is what he said. Right? Let me see if I can get into my account here. Why not? Oh, hang on. My Chrome is messing up. Thank you, Tazzy. This is a very true statement. You can't avoid politics, but politics is the constants in your life. Your work, your school, your health, your rights. Correct. It's everywhere around us. It's everywhere around us. You can't not be involved in politics unless you are deed. That's really the only way to do that. Let's get in there like swimwear. Okay. Yes, update that, please. Thank you. All right. Okay. So here's Truth Social. When I go to Truth Social, I normally just go to bumpity bump Cheeto and Chief's page because I really the rest of the discourse on there is just so disturbing to me and it makes me kind of stabby, so I don't. So look, so he's gonna this is him in the One Big Beautiful Bill event. What does he say here? The Democrats are the ones who leaked the information on perfect flight to the nuclear sites in Iran. I'm sorry, what? I don't think so. Pete Hegseth is the one saying that they flew out of fucking Missouri and back. That's your guy. Go get your guy. Oh, good. This insane person has nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, right? And then he sends over, this is from another world leader, just sends over the text. Don't show people your texts. Donnie, what are you doing? You know, fake news. Reporters from CNN and the New York Times should be fired immediately. Bad people with evil intentions. The NATO summit yesterday was great. The most unified and productive in history. A wonderful day with incredible and caring leaders. The agreed to 5% gives NATO real power. Hello, sir. Sir, could you get a spell check? Can somebody check your grammar? The cars and small trucks at the site were those of concrete workers trying to cover up the top of the shafts. Nothing was taken out of facility. Would take too long, too dangerous, and very heavy and hard to move. Because you know all that experience that Trump has of working in a nuclear facility. Yeah. Yeah. One of the greatest and most professional and most confirming news conferences I've ever seen. The fake news should fire everyone involved in this witch hunt and apologize to our great warriors and everyone else. And notice how Hegseth just kept saying, thanks to our boys who flew the planes. There was a female pilot, bitch. Rumor is that the failing New York Times and fake news CNN will be firing the reporters who made up the fake stories on the Iran nuclear sites because they got it so wrong. Let's see what happens. Nobody got fired. Nobody got fired. Fake news CNN is so disgusting and incompetent. Some of the dumbest anchors in the business. He really hates CNN. He really hates CNN. I was shocked to hear that the state of Israel, which has just had one of its greatest moments in history and is strongly led by Bibi, is continuing its ridiculous witch hunt against their great wartime prime minister. No, he is a fucking war criminal who's up for crimes at The Hague, for crimes against humanity, for genocide in Gaza. Okay, this is just him stroking the guy who gave him the most money, because we know Trump was bought by the biggest bidder, which was Bibi. Oh, I have an idea for the Democrats to bring them back into play after years of being left out in the cold, including suffering one of the greatest losses in history, the 2024 presidential election. Except for maybe that didn't happen. Maybe that didn't happen. Right? The Democrats should nominate low IQ candidate Jasmine Crockett, who, by the way, is a lawyer. She went to a better school than you did, dum-dum. And 3 high-level members of the cabinet for president, and AOC plus 3 should be respectively vice president, and 3 high-level members of the cabinet added together with the future communist mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, and our country is really screwed. Yeah, he wants to fucking make shit happen. I love that kid. He's a communist lunatic. No, he's a democratic socialist, honey. Let's get it right. He's a democratic socialist. Thank you. And is on his way to becoming mayor. Yes. He just really, really hates people. Right. Natasha Bertrand should be fired. Yeah, we're going to get to the song here. And then here's little Marco. I know of no president probably in our modern history that has sought peace more than Trump has. It is just literally, guys, it is literally. Okay, I'm going to look that up, Alicia. So then here's him. Look at him at the NATO. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. Can we just look at him for 1 minute? Look at the spray tan.
As you know, last weekend, the United States successfully carried out a
look at his hand and look at his face.
Precision on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. And it was very successful. It was called obliteration.
Look at the coloration here. what is happening? And when it's a clear picture and they're zoomed in, you can see all the sweat bubbling through this mask of disgust. Even the fake fucking tan on his face is repelled by him. Okay. Like he's just, it's too much. So then he's here, blah, 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 talking to NATO. Okay. This is something that he put out. I want to point out, this is his Truth Social. This is not a retruth. This is not somebody else. This was an unbelievable hit in Iran by genius pilots and genius people in the military.
This was an unbelievable hit by genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group.
Not this one. Hang on. I thought it was the other thing that is also a thing he put out. Obliterated. This. Again, this is him putting this out. I don't know who made this for him. This is not a retruth. It's not from somebody else's social.
Bomb, bomb, Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran.
This is the president of the United States, y'all. Thought that it was appropriate to put a parody song of Barbara Ann about bombing Iran onto his social media platform. This is the president of the United States. Okay. Let me find, Alicia, let me find that statement here from... Is it on YouTube? You just subscribe to MSNBC and CNN because he hates them. Like a 12-year-old. Yep. I'm just looking for this anonymous thing. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that because of those leaked documents, it's showing that it's not destroyed. If somebody wants to send me the clip, that would be amazing, but I don't. Oh, good. Is that happening now, or is that just... That's a video from 10 years ago. Yeah, if somebody can send me that clip, that would be awesome. Oh, but yeah, guys, it is... Bless that sweet, sweet woman who had no idea what she was doing, Amy. No, it's not funny. It's not funny. It is extremely dangerous. Listen, I know how dangerous Trump is. And I'm glad that we have people like Slotkin in Congress, in the Senate. Okay. Skip, navigate. Okay. Let me try looking it up that way. Thank you. Is that on YouTube or just the internet? When I do that, it's just giving me all the news things about those things that got leaked. Okay. Yeah, you have to. YouTube won't let you post a link, Alicia, unless you're the creator or one of the mods on a channel. So if you can email that to me, yeah, because here's what I'm seeing when I put that in, just so you can see what I'm seeing. So the AI is telling us this, right? About the leaks, and then it's saying some of the people are saying they got the leak from anonymous. Yeah. Now Trump is, gonna not tell other people what's happening. I mean, he's already cut Tulsi Gabbard out, right? Anonymous News 8. Okay, let me look at that on YouTube. At Anon. There we go.
You've probably heard of Anonymous, that
Blessed be our new founding fathers.
leaked documents, classified assessments, and private messages between former Congressman Matt Gaetz and his own mother. Yes, his mother, who plays the role of MAGA whisperer, pressuring him to stay in line like any authoritarian regime would want. Let's start with the leak. A Defense Intelligence Agency report, originally classified, was leaked to the press and obtained by several media outlets including CNN and The Guardian. The report states that the recent U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear sites only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months.
Yes.
Not years, not permanent damage, just a few months. In other words, the operation that Trump bragged about, comparing it to Hiroshima, was a dud. But Trump, in true Trump fashion, dismissed the report entirely. He called it fake. He called the leakers traitors. He even threatened to limit future intelligence sharing with Congress. Yes, the President of the United States threatened to cut off oversight because the truth didn't match his narrative. The man who once claimed to love WikiLeaks suddenly despises leaks when they expose him. Let's remember who we're talking about. This is Donald Trump, the same man who ignored his presidential daily briefings, publicly undermined his own intelligence agencies, and casually floated nuking hurricanes. Now he wants you to believe he masterminded the obliteration of Iran's nuclear program. A bold claim for a man who couldn't find Tehran on a map without Sharpie notes. But this isn't just about Trump. This is about the people around him. About enablers. About cowards. Enter Matt Gaetz. Recently, a TikTok user recorded Gaetz on an American Airlines flight scrolling through messages. These texts were between him and his mother. At first, it's innocent travel plans, sports updates. Then it gets dark. She tells him to stop criticizing Trump. She warns him MAGA will turn on you. You'll lose your audience. You're done with Congress. You'll ruin your media job. This is not parenting. This is political blackmail delivered through parental guilt. Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz knew that somebody was filming him. There's nobody in their life that just randomly scrolls with the font turned up to literally, a million, who doesn't know somebody's recording that screen. Like, give me a break.
Replies that he's trying to guide Trump, not criticize him. Really, Matt Gaetz thinks he can guide Donald Trump the same. Donald Trump, who fires generals over Twitter and thinks loyalty is more valuable than competence. In the texts, Gaetz makes a startling admission. I've been talking to him constantly. I feel deep shame that I failed. That's right. He failed to guide a man who doesn't listen to intelligence experts or reason. He admits Iran's nuclear program poses no threat to the U.S. He says North Korea is the real threat. He's right. But when has being right ever mattered in Trump's orbit? Gaetz' mother pushes back. She says Trump has intelligence you don't have. But Trump refused his briefings. He fought with his director of national intelligence, Tulsi.
Yeah. He's basically cut Tulsi Gabbard off. She's not getting any more briefings. Why? Because she said, don't bomb Iran. They're not a threat. Yeah.
Gabbard, who wasn't even invited to the latest Iran briefing.
Nope.
What intelligence? She says Iran is a threat because of religious extremism, that they believe paradise comes through destruction. Maybe, but facts matter. Iran stopped its nuclear weapons program in 2003. Obama's 2015 deal froze uranium enrichment, installed IAEA inspections, and slowed everything down. Trump tore that deal up in 2018 for nothing. Iran resumed enrichment. The region destabilized, and Trump wants applause. Gaetz compares Trump's Iran strategy to Bush's Iraq war. The same with us or against us logic. And he's right. That logic gave us 2 decades of war, hundreds of thousands dead, trillions wasted. Now Trump's repeating it. Then Gaetz' mother accuses him of being an Obama supporter. As if that's treason. She defends Trump's strikes, says this is Reagan's movement. But Reagan showed restraint. Trump only shows off. Let's talk facts. Iran has never been closer to building a bomb than it is now because of Trump. He didn't stop Iran. He gave them motivation. And the DIA leak confirms it. The airstrikes barely delayed them. No obliteration. No Hiroshima. Just months of delay.
Yep.
And now an angry, more determined regime. But Trump doesn't want you to see that. He wants you to believe he ended a war before it started. He wants the image of strength without the strategy behind it. That's why he threatened to cut off intelligence sharing. That's why he excluded Congress from decision-making. That's why he compared his bombing raid to Hiroshima without irony. Meanwhile, Israel is playing its own game. Back in 2018, Mossad broke into a warehouse in Tehran and stole a massive archive of Iran's nuclear documents. It was a stunning operation. It exposed Iran's long-term intentions and gave Israel the leverage it needed to pressure Trump. Trump loved it, used it, then did nothing meaningful with it. No new deal, no new inspections, just more sanctions and tweets. Now Iran claims to have hacked Israel back. They say they've recovered Israeli nuclear secrets and might publish them. The nuclear intelligence war is escalating, and Trump is throwing gasoline on the fire. The media is catching on. Even MSNBC's Joe Scarborough warned that the press is being played. He's not wrong. Trump creates chaos, then accuses everyone else of being the problem.
Sound
he fabricates
familiar?
victories and lashes out at those who tell the truth. He governs like a reality show villain, not a statesman. Back to Gates. His mom warns him, "You'll ruin your media gig." He replies that he's wealthy, has a kid on the way, and doesn't care. But that's not the point. The point is that dissent is dangerous in MAGA world. Criticizing the leader is betrayal. Questioning the narrative is treason. Gates even says, "By your logic, should we bomb North Korea?" And that's the real issue. Trump's logic doesn't hold. It's about optics, not strategy. About power, not peace. We've seen this before. Bush lied us into Iraq. Trump tried to lie us into Iran. Obama slowed it down. Biden ended the wars Trump pretended to end. But only after the damage was done. Iran's parliament has now voted to withdraw from UN inspections. The region is
Wonderful.
on edge. Hezbollah is mobilizing. Israel is on high alert. And Trump brags from his golf course. What kind of leader endangers global peace and then complains about leakers exposing the truth? Trump is not a tactician. He's a loudspeaker for his own ego. His administration used secret intelligence when it suited them and dismissed it when it didn't. He claimed victories he didn't earn. He created enemies where none existed. And the world is less safe because of him. This isn't strength. It's sabotage. And when the next leak comes, and it will, Trump will call it fake. He'll blame the deep state. He'll demand loyalty, but he won't own the consequences. Matt Gaetz tried to play both sides, criticize Trump but still stay in the club. It doesn't work like that. You're either honest or you're complicit. His texts show a man who knows the truth but is too scared to speak it loudly. We're not scared. We are anonymous. We shine light in the dark. We expose power. We challenge propaganda. And we don't back down because someone yells fake news. If you believe in truth over loyalty, in facts over fear, in diplomacy over bombs, then stand with us. Share this video. Comment. Speak out. Ask questions. Demand answers. Don't let war be declared in your name while you scroll TikTok. This is not a game. We see the lies. We see the truth. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
There you go, guys. There.
Issue that seems to be haunting the Trump administration in the wake of Saturday's airstrikes in
Nicole Wallace breaks down Pete Hegseth's meltdown and tantrum at Pentagon press conference. Guys, this is the timeline we're in. This is the timeline we're in. We're talking about the Secretary of Defense having a tantrum. What the fuck? Okay, guys, that's all I got for you for right now. There's obviously going to be more because it doesn't stop. Please be strong. Please get out there and march and protest if you can. Be safe. Help those that are marching and protesting if you cannot. Fight for democracy, guys. And I will see you all next time.
Constitution's just a ghost in chains. Freedom slipping down the drains. Rise up, break the chains. No billionaire should run the game. Lying, scheming, stealing rights. If we don't fight, we lose tonight. End of democracy comes in waves. Justice buried in shallow graves. Stand up loud, don't be the slaves. Unmake the cage, unmake the cage. Tick tock, time's running out. They're burning the laws, there ain't no doubt. Oh no, America, what you gonna do? Rights getting burned and they're coming for you.